in the history of these controversial Army rail shipments.
Today, the unfolding story of a popular and controversial group of magicians.
Of the controversial interview.
Always controversial. He deals with topics.
A controversial file from an anonymous source.
Famous for his controversial defeat of Kavula.
Lazarus underwent a
The congressman was working on a very controversial piece of legislation.
Most controversial subject in crime, and you had to hit it.
Has not been without controversy.
His bizarre and highly controversial press conference.
And has forced the widest area evacuations in the history of these controversial Army rail shipments.
Whenever you want me to.
Fortunately, much of the surrounding area has been...
Today, the unfolding story of a popular and controversial group of magicians who have been fast capturing the public's imagination took a dark...
Cluster defended the network's decision not to broadcast key portions of the controversial interview. Mr. Cluster said, quote, "The atmosphere is tougher than ever."
You make me sick!
Sometimes shocking, always controversial. He deals with topics that the other talk shows are afraid to touch.
I'm not nearly that controversial. Oh, come on.
Outlets received a controversial file from an anonymous source. The international intelligence community is still reeling from the...
Be the dimmest star in several solar systems, is most famous for his controversial defeat of Kavula, who claimed many thought they were voting for the worst dressed...
Save for the fact that my tools are the mechanisms that trigger human emotion.
Lazarus underwent a controversial pigmentation alteration procedure in...
This accident comes at a very untimely juncture since the congressman was working on a very controversial piece of legislation, Dale, opposing the telecommunication security and privacy.
Confused that capital punishment angle, the most controversial subject in crime, and you had to hit it. You've antagonized the jurors.
During the construction process. But the choice of these 10 candidates has not been without controversy. Fully 1/3 of the candidates are American.
An invitation, sir. Hasn't been seen in public since his bizarre and highly controversial press conference. Some claim he's suffering from post-traumatic stress.
Adjust yourself. You got a lot of responsibility. You got a lot of people on that payroll. You can't afford to be controversial.
Yeah. My point being that, alas, I find myself harboring a perhaps rather controversial opinion regarding the long-deceased Claude.
Experience pleasure to experience pain. Very, very controversial thing to say because it was in effect taking mankind off.
Yeah, all right.
Andrew Vaughn, the controversial and polarizing religious figure, has been pronounced dead.
He was, of course, a rather controversial figure. That news, once again. François Deleuil.
A plate dinner honoring the CEO of Votron Incorporated, the nation's third largest producer of the controversial touchscreen units that will be used in the forthcoming election.
She's a sport.
She warned me your Antipodean methods were both unorthodox and controversial. I warned her. These are not my favorite one.
With a religious fervor that has made her America's most controversial woman overnight, her group is crusading to repeal a new Dade County law.
Lived magisterially within a large house of controversial pale cream-colored stone in an inaccessible wilderness near the central...
This is one of the nights that everybody's been talking about around the world. One of the most controversial and talked about sports events in memory, the women's figure skating competition.
Of course, your choice of subject matter is a bit controversial. And as brilliant as the pages are right now, you're gonna...
The natural state of mankind is instead, and I know this is a controversial idea, is freedom.
How they feel. Now, so set the stage for us. Talk us through what really happened on that final and controversial night.
Well, first off, you have to understand that...
Hey!
Investigators are
turn the fuck up!
Some of Wheeler's other more controversial business holdings. Sandy Gilmore has a report.
These facts, plus the epidemic scope of the problem and the controversial nature of the Vietnam War, led American authorities to wonder whether many, if not...
That's the only way. He's always interfering. Controversial. Castle Royal in the morning and fascinating.
Britain's longest-serving Prime Minister of the 20th century
remains a controversial figure, almost lovingly dubbed by the Soviets the
In what is sure to be a very controversial decision, the winner of this year's Nobel Prize for Peace is Dr.
Yes, Nichelle Nichols on network TV.
Controversial? But you did it.
The network was nervous.